Hi, I'm Peyton Dale and I am your friendly neighborhood wardrobe stylist. Welcome to the Peyton Project. On this show, I'm going to give you all of my tips and my tricks that I've learned over years and years of styling. I'm going to take you behind the scenes with me as I style people's music videos and photo shoots and for every day. And we're also going to be talking to a lot of my personal friends about what makes them tick when it comes to getting dressed in the morning. Hey guys, welcome back to the Peyton Project. I am so excited to share with you this interview that I did today. I interviewed Tom Petersson from Cheap Trick. Like the Cheap Trick, like mommy's all right, daddy's all right, Cheap Trick. And I'm so excited. I got to talk to him about stage clothes, I got to talk to him about packing for tour, and so many other things. And I cannot wait to share this conversation with you. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks, Tom, for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Peyton. It's great to be here.
So I want to talk a little bit about how music and style go hand in hand, and you're one of the most stylish people I know, so I figured you'd be a great guest to be on the show. Every single musician or artist has that first musical moment that grasps them, and then they kind of go, oh, this is what I want to do with my life. Mine was Day Tripper. I heard that and went, oh, well, my life's over. But what was yours?
I was 13 years old. It's going to be 14 in 1964, and the Beatles came on Ed Sullivan's show in February, and that was it. It wasn't that I wanted to do that necessarily. It was like they came from some other planet, and wherever they came from, that's where I wanted to go.
So that being said, fashion and music go hand in hand. What was the first music-related fashion memory that you had?
Well, it was that. You know, then pretty soon after that, it was the Rolling Stones on there, and that was a bit of a different thing. You know, it's still. But, you know, yeah, you wanted to grow your hair like that, which was, of course, not allowed. You wanted to have clothes like that, which were probably not allowed, except they weren't available. So there was no way. So everybody was kind of improvising and trying not to look like Dwight D. Eisenhower anymore.
Trying to not look like they're wearing their sister's clothes.
I ended up going to London in 1968 with our guitar player, Rick Nielsen. And, you know, it was all over. We just left all of our old clothes behind and had, you know, velvet pants and Edwardian coats and all that.
Who do you think's better dressed, the Beatles or the Stones?
It's a toss-up, really. And it varies from person to person and time period to time period, really.
I think it's different. The Beatles never had to live through the 80s.
Well, the Stones are still around. That's true. So that's that. I don't know. It was, you know, really then it, you know, soon after all of that was happening, you know, everything happened so fast. And all of a sudden there was Jimi Hendrix is on the scene, you know, and like, that's really when I think fashion and the whole look really was so great. And so it shocked so many people. It didn't shock us, but we thought it was cool. But boy, the adults weren't into it. Let's put it that way.
No, there hasn't been anything that has shocked a lot of parents in a while.
I think I know after Hendrix showed up on the scene, you know, all the guitar players had to have, you know, Strats. Everybody started using Stratocasters. And I think that, and then of course looked like, you know, the Experience, you know, Jimmy and Noel and Mitch. But I think Jeff Beck, you know, started using a Strat around that time too. But I think he's probably the only one who didn't get a perm.
Thank God.
Everyone else did, right?
That'd be terrible.
Me included.
Oh,
come
on.
Hendrix, baby, come on.
When you get ready for tour, what does that process look like for you when it comes to packing clothes? Do you have a game plan? Are you an overpacker? Do you know what you're going to wear? How does that work?
Well, it's different for us than, you know, than a normal traveler, because we're traveling with all of our equipment, which goes in a truck, and then we've got a clothes case, basically a giant suitcase with our clothes in there. So I don't travel really with anything when we fly around. I just take carry-on. Yeah.
So you don't overpack.
So I can't, because I have to carry it. It's like, you know, if I have to carry an amp, is it a big giant SVT? No.
You're like, I'm wearing the same 5,000.
You see me around here at a club or something. It's either, what do you have available there? Like, what's my lightest?
I've done wardrobe on the road for so many bands, and there are some bands that are clothes horses, and every member has like 8 wardrobe cases to themselves for each member. And I just think, how do you pick? And then they buy stuff when they go out, and then it's just keeping an inventory of it is a nightmare. So I know some people are different. It sounds like you're a pretty light packer.
Yeah, a light packer, but that's just for traveling on planes and stuff. But we have the luxury of having this stuff being traveled around in a truck. So we've each got one clothes case. It's never quite big enough. And then of course it gets more and more stuff in it. And then whatever your bunk is in the bus, you've got you have so much stuff in there that it's just barely enough room for you to get in there.
So I want to talk a little bit about the Beatles residency, because as a fellow Beatlemaniac, it's one of my favorite things you guys have done. But how did that even come about? How did that idea come about? And it was obviously you had Jeff Emmerich involved, who I've met a couple times, RIP. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the reason it started was because the people at the Hollywood Bowl, they have a series every summer of different concerts, and people buy tickets to the whole summer series. You don't know what you're going to get. And one of them was for somebody to come in and do Sgt. Pepper, the entire show. So they thought we would be perfect to do it. So we did it. We did 2 nights. And while we were there, people from people that owned casinos or something in Las Vegas saw us, and we got hired to do a long residency in Vegas. 2 of them. We started one at the Hilton, and then we ended up at the Paris. So we did, I don't know how many 100 shows or something. I don't know. I
was looking at some of the videos from that residency, and I loved the costumes for it. So how did you guys go about designing those costumes?
Well, we didn't design them. Our good friend Karen Dusenberry, LA clothing designer, did all that stuff for us. And it was really just what was happening in that time period. So it was like, the swinging 60s, Carnaby Street, that sort of thing. It wasn't specifically what, the Beatles suits. We didn't try to look like what they wore, just really capture the essence of the time period. And, we did all their songs and stuff, but we didn't try to copy the exact sounds or use the same instruments. We just played as Cheap Trick doing those songs.
Those costumes are so cool.
Those costumes, back to that, Karen is fantastic. But it's easy to me because it's that Edwardian, Carnaby Street, Kings Road. It was, we loved it.
Yeah, and that stuff only works on certain types of folks, so it's really hard to pull that stuff off, and you guys did it very well. I can't say anything. I wore a full Sgt. Pepper uniform to my high school graduation. It's amazing that I ended up working in fashion when I made so many fashion mistakes. But I want to ask you about some of your fashion faux pas. What is the worst style moment you've ever had on stage, or any outfits that you regret for album covers or anything like that? Is there anything that you've worn that you hate now?
Not really. I mean, it's not hate. It's like, oh my God, did I really? Not really. I can't think of anything. Nothing jumps out like, oh my God, I was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
That's
good.
No, I wish there was one, but not that it all looked great, but nothing was like so horrific that I want to destroy
any evidence.
Yes.
Have you ever had a wardrobe malfunction on stage?
You mean like something falling off? No,
like your pants rip, or like you break. Like I've had to be on the receiving end of so many broken zippers, or like I did wardrobe on one show with a guitar player, and he wore a jacket that had buttons all down, and he beat the crap out of his guitar, not realizing that he did it. But there's always something interesting. Do you have any of those stories, or have you been fairly lucky?
Well, pretty lucky. What you'll see, what is a big mistake people make, is you won't try something on before you actually play a guitar. Like you're saying, like, oh my God, you've got to. I remember a classic thing when the Who did the halftime.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Pete Townsend had a scarf on that he probably just put on. I thought, this is cool. not realizing that it laid right on his strings. And the whole time he kept trying to get it out of his way. He never would have, that kind of stuff happens.
You got to check the weather and you got to play in front of the mirror to see how it looks and to see if anything's caught in anything and if it can actually work. I ask this question to every single person that I meet to determine if we're friends or not, or if we're going to be friends or not. Since you and I are already friends, you've passed the test clearly, but I'm going to ask this question.
Okay.
You are stuck on a desert island. You get
Which
five, any desert island of your, any desert island of your choosing. You get 5 records. And you have the ability to play the records once you get to the desert island. But what 5 records do you take with you?
5 records?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I suppose the White Album, Electric Ladyland. See, that's already 4 records because they're double albums.
Well, that doesn't count. It's a record.
All Things Must Pass. That's 3.
Also a double record. You're playing the system here. This is great.
I'm cheating, right?
No, it's fine.
I've got to pick something of the Rolling Stones. I suppose it would be Beggar's Banquet.
Okay.
I would say maybe Arthur, The Rise and Fall of the British Empire, Kinks. Oh, there's so many great
I know.
Do I have any more? No, I've got
Nope, that's it.
No, that's it. Okay. Yeah.
I've got one more question. If you could trade closets with anybody in the world, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I suppose it would have to be Bowie.
That's a good one. You've got everything covered. You've got glam. You've got the suits.
Every element, every time, every fashion thing from 1967 on, I suppose.
You have all your Alexander McQueen you could ever want.
Oh, yeah, great stuff.
It's a good time. You're the first person that said Bowie, so that's interesting.
Yeah, and he was. I was his waiter on the first tour of the States. The club that I worked in, he had a private party upstairs, and I was their private waiter.
What do you talk to David Bowie about?
Well, I was the waiter. I wasn't talking to him.
I know, but still, I would go.
What would you care? Would you care for another drink? That sort of thing. No, and he was very, very sweet, and went out of his way to be nice, and you can always tell somebody's personality if they're nice to people that they don't have to be nice to, because working, it's almost like you should. When people are young, they should either have to go in the Peace Corps or be a waiter.
I fully agree. I say you need to wait tables during Mother's Day and work retail during the holidays. Have you ever been starstruck?
Not in that way. Somebody I might be kind of shocked. If I remember I was at the NAMM show once and I saw we were downstairs and there was George Harrison walking along with one of.
I feel like my palms just started sweating.
And everybody said, what did you say to him? I said, I didn't go up to him. I'm not going to bother him. Didn't say anything to him.
Well, Tom, thanks so much for hanging out with me for a little bit. I really appreciate it.
Hayden, it's been my pleasure. And we'll see you somewhere out on the streets.
Hopefully we'll be
not that you're out there standing out on the streets, but I did see you the other day on the street. Yes, you were in a parking lot, actually. I don't know what you were doing. You were near an alley in a parking lot. All right, you were parked there.
Times are tough for fashionistas.
That's right. It's a living.
It's a living. It's on. I'm an independent contractor. It's honest. Well, thanks so much. And hopefully we'll be able to see you soon on the road.
You will eventually.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, Paige.